Hello, everyone. This is Tim with Paul, together in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Believe it or not.
And we've been spending the past week going through stuff in our parents' basement.
Helping them to downsize.
Yeah.
Which means helping us to downsize, because a lot of our stuff has been lying around in here for the last 30 years.
And some of it is bat-related.
Yes, which is why we've called you here today.
So, first of all, as referred to on To the Bat Poles many times, we found the bat coins.
We never thought that we would find them. They were found in a jar that was apparently given to Tim with cookies in it at some point in high school, I suppose.
By a cute girl at church camp.
Yes, yes. Cute girls at church camp. The bane of our existences. So let's see. So here we have Sharky.
Who?
Famous characters, characters of great
CPO
repute.
Sharky? Don Rickles on a bat coin?
Well, weirdly enough, he looks sort of like a cross between, Frank Gorshin and Milton Berle. Milton Berle, yeah. Doesn't he look like Milton Berle? Kinda.
Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
So what else have we got here? So bat coins have Batman on one side. You can see in the light a little bit. It's one of the, I guess it's for one of the Batman New Look insignias from the comic book in the 60s. And on the other side of this one is something, completely unreadable. Oh, Blockbuster. And Blockbuster is apparently...
Video store.
Yes, a personified video store come to attack Batman. He appears to be saying, "Gah!" I wonder if some of these are just taken directly from comics panels. I'll bet that one was. So, as we recall, these were...
Yeah, well, from what I found, these were actually originally sold in the 60s.
Yeah, but I don't know where we got them, if we bought them ourselves or someone bought them for us.
I'm pretty sure they were a gift from maybe Mom's aunt and uncle.
Here's the penguin.
Around 74 or so.
Dynamic duo.
74, 75, something like that.
Here's a Riddler. Apparently these are not worth anything except that, this is worth maybe 2 Riddlers and a I don't know, Racketeer or something traded in for a bat plane. Here we go. Life in the bat plane.
Well, I mean, in our parody comics, we had bat coins as a whole currency for our world, and like a dynamic duo was worth the most, I think.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, dynamic duo right here.
Here's Alfred, definitely taken from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you see the kind of shiny stuff there. It looks like paper that was glued on accidentally and then pulled off, but it's not. It's actually a kind of silvery, goldish paint on the plastic.
Robin.
Though these were originally sold in sheets, so they had to be cut out of, they were held on 4 sides by these little widgets, and you had to cut them out.
Batcopter.
Yes, Batcopter. Here's a Rocketeer? Racketeer? I guess it's a Rocketeer.
Nothing to do with the Dave Stevens comic.
Nor does it have anything to do with women kicking me like a kick line. I don't believe there's no, that's the Rockettes. That's completely different.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Looking like her comics type self.
Joker in profile, like Eisenhower himself on the dime.
Here's another Joker that's green. Bat plane.
And they do say on the back. They say they not only have the Batman insignia from the New Look years, but also a bat beneath it that looks like the bat from Batman's costume on the show.
Boy, that is redundant, isn't it?
It really is.
A Batman logo and then a bat.
And beneath it says Transagram, which is the name of the company that produced these things.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Robin, looking more like a character out of a Dickie Dare novel from the 30s or 40s. But again, some of these seem to have been taken directly from comics. Is that one we have?
Mr. Zero. Straight out of the comics, right?
Right. Pre-Mr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, now that I see this, I kind of remember that we were puzzled by that back then. Why is it Mr. Zero? It's Mr. Freeze.
Yes,
this is
but
stupid.
We had no access to any back issues or histories of the Batman character like you kids do now.
No comicsology.
Right. You can just walk right into your office and turn the computer on and see Mr. Zero stories up the wazoo if you want to.
Now, our action figures did not turn up, and I have a feeling they're gone forever. But
yeah, they may well be, but we've got them right here, and we'll never forget what they looked like, what they smelled like.
Well,
what it was like to play with them.
And we've put up photos before on our blog of the ones that we had.
We'll never forget Joker's broken leg that we tried to repair with a brad, and then because his joint fell out.
But we did find one little artifact, a couple of the same thing, that reminded us of a storyline that we did back then with our action figures, where the villains went on strike.
Yes, this one's.
And somehow that was a bad thing.
Well, apparently Batman went on strike too, because this one says criminals unfair to Batman.
Okay.
And that one says Batman
Yeah,
unfair
I think
to
they
criminals.
if I remember right, they sort of traded off going on
Yeah,
strike.
they picketed each other, I guess. And on the backs of these, of course, are Peanuts cartoons, single panels. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, where did these come from?
Did we have these as some kind of decorations? So they look like Thanksgiving decorations. This one has Snoopy saying, "We have so much to be thankful for, especially leftovers."
Were they stuck in cupcakes or something?
They might have been. Oh, well, you just caught the stain on my Batman shirt.
You don't have to point it out. Look,
Yes,
everybody.
Tried to keep it, tried to keep it above the equator here, so you just see the Batman insignia. But yeah, repurposing things like this, I suspect, many kids did this with various toys and things like the red ham web that we used to use, the ham net that we used to use for Mego Spider-Man's spider web. Stuff like that, just, you just repurposed it kind of as a matter of course. Milk cartons, two half-gallon milk cartons crammed together and wrapped with black construction paper became the Batmobile.
Yes.
Try not to picture it. It's not good for your mental health. Okay, so now we move on to something that we're pretty sure was gone forever, but happened to find among my stuff. Somehow I had liberated this probably 15 or 20 years ago from my parents' house, and it was in my house in New Hampshire. It is, in fact, the Batman Viewmaster packet, but a couple of things about it. One, it's not just any ordinary Batman Viewmaster packet. It has a signature to Tim from Batman. This was signed by Adam West at the car show in Des Moines in 1978. 77.
November
right.
77, yeah.
So that's signed. Somewhere in the world there was a drawing that I did of Batman at that time when I was 9 that he signed. And I said, just sign it, Paul Batman. I didn't know what it is. So he did. He signed it, Paul Batman. And I regretted it ever after that I had not known what to say to Adam West. But I was kind of, what do you say to Adam West? He's Adam West. He's wearing a Batman suit. He's wearing the wrong Batman suit, of course. He's wearing the wrong cowl. But anyway, so here are the Viewmasters. And here is our gold-plated Bakelite Viewmaster itself, which is a little bit sticky. It doesn't quite lock when you pull the lever, but we were still able to watch the 3D images of the first Catwoman episode.
Yeah, although the first reel is missing.
Yeah, we're missing the first reel, so luckily, though, this is the irreplaceable part. This is the Adam West signature. But we could still, I'm sure, get from eBay or something the last reel.
Of course, looking at that, I was reminded of how totally cool it was to be able to look at stills from a Batman episode whenever we wanted to, decades before there was a DVD set.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, that even reading what we thought of even then as the subpar Star Wars series from Marvel, those first 6 issues that were penciled by Howard Chaykin and written by Archie Goodwin, that was better than not seeing the movie. because there was, of course, no other way for us to encounter the movie except maybe through the Star Wars storybook that we also found the other day that I ordered from Scholastic Books when I was in grade school. But yeah, it was pretty exciting, and the 3D effects are pretty good. Obviously, they're post-production 3D. They would have to be.
Yeah.
But most films, 3D films these days are post-production 3D as well. But it's pretty convincing. The effects are quite convincing. So that's fun. Let me see. So, I guess last but not least, huh?
Yeah.
Well, this is the mother load, folks. Looks like an ordinary potato chip box, a Flavorite potato chip box from, I don't know, 1976, 1977, something.
About that.
But if you look very closely, you'll notice that over the chef, this goopy-looking hat, there's a huge bat that says Batman Game in tiny letters at the bottom. Slightly more elaborate-looking bat down here at the bottom and slightly less compressed, also stating Batman Game. My first comment on this is that it's a beautiful package. I mean, it's beautiful packaging. It's the marketing is first rate for for a couple of third and sixth graders or whatever.
Engraved, personalized.
Yes, and it even signed and numbered. See?
Yeah.
It's number 604 of this potato chip variety. And yes, so from what? Oh, and there are more Batmans or Batsmen or Batmans on the back. From what Tim and I have been able to determine, this was a solo project that Paul did, that I did. For God knows when. It must have been something we were doing, maybe a rainy day or a boring summer day or a snow day or something. It strikes me as that kind of project. But we've got full instructions here. It's very hard to read this even when you're standing right in front of it because there's, this is mostly colored with crayon. Again, fabulous marketing and production values all along. But the game rules, let's see, we've got, I think this is supposed to be the commissioner's office with the bat signal popping off the top. Robin socks Riddler in the nose, bad guy goes to jail. So we had bad guys and good guys, and we had actually made pieces. Maybe Tim and I made the pieces together, I don't know. But we had made pieces that were based on the size of the pieces of a game called Snoopy Come Home that we had played endlessly as kids.
Did we use the little plastic stands from Snoopy Come Home?
I'm sure we did. And
that sounds
I don't
right.
have an exact memory of this, but I'd be willing to bet that I used, I took the paper. This is paper folded over and glued to itself, so it's like double thick. But I am almost positive that I traced around the playing
that
pieces,
sounds right.
The tokens for
they're certainly the
Snoopy
same
Come Home
shape.
game. And then we would just stick them. Oh, and on the back, each of them has got like ha. There's an icon for each of the characters. Joker has ha on the back. Catwoman has a cat saying meow with a crescent moon, etc., etc. Robin has an R, and you'll notice this. This is
from a rubber band
artifact. Yes, archaeological artifact. It's a rubber band that just eventually melted in and fused with the paper. Penguin with penguin on the back, a penguin drawn in ballpoint pen for some reason, the rest of it's in pencil. Again, production value is high as they get. Riddler, interestingly enough, has a scepter. He has his Riddler scepter, which I don't really remember thinking or knowing that much about or worrying about much as a kid, but I guess I did. Anyway, and Batgirl. Here's Batgirl based on the action figure that my sister had, that Tim's and my sister had as a little girl when she would play with us sometimes. And on the back is a really, really girly-looking bat signal with curly cues, no lace, no doilies or anything. So I'm hesitant to read the rules, but if you'd like some proof that we actually knew how to play this game,
I think we actually did play it
40 years
sometimes
ago.
Too.
This is a game.
Wash hands before playing.
Yeah, because, as you can see, it's a little decrepit. Oh, and look, we even tip of the old hat to National Periodical Publications here at the bottom. Copyright. We tried to make things look so official. I guess that's why we just taped pieces of paper, glued pieces of paper onto the board to try to correct things like this arrow here or Gotham Bridge, which clearly this was a spot that got erased 47 times. It was really so rough looking we couldn't stand it, and we ended up gluing Gotham Bridge over it. But these were the rules. You could play as a supervillain or as a hero. This is a game which would be fun from ages 6 and up. Wash hands before playing so you can't get the game dirty. No shoes, no shirt, no game. So clever. 2 to 8 players can play. If you can find anybody to play with you, however. It's like, hey, look, I made this game and I'm 6. Play this game with me. He's like, oh, sure, I can hardly wait, say all the adults. The bridge, you can, some revisions here, too. Losing 2 turns. I think the point was that the villains had a certain set of rules and goals, and the heroes had a certain set of rules and goals.
Oh, and don't forget the cards.
Oh, yes. Yes, the cards. There's the good guy cards and the bad guy cards. The good guy cards are orange, with a bat signal or a bat insignia on them. And the villain cards are purple with little images of Joker looking like he's got the world's worst widow's peak. And certainly not looking nearly as much like Joker as he looks like the Kilroy was here guy.
Mr. Roboto.
Yes, or possibly Eddie Munster with slightly lighter skin and greener hair. But the cards are basically the same for both sides. Send bad guys back 4 spaces and lose 1 turn, and or you could choose to punish someone more or less. That doesn't seem like a very good idea. Your choice. It's like, here, let's stop playing. Let's go watch Batman instead. Make criminal trade playing pieces with superhero. Man, these are so waxy. I doubt that they could ever... They could probably never be ruined or destroyed by water. They're just completely covered with yellow crayon all the way through. I can still feel how slippery they are. So anyway, if anybody would like to play, I'm sure we can set up an online version of this in seconds flat and invite all of our friends who will all ignore us. But there it is. This is one of the many ways in which we tried to produce our own Bat universe in our household. And I think that's really what it was all about. We just wanted to surround ourselves with Batman stuff. But I think sort of recreating...
On as low a budget as possible.
On as low a budget as possible. But, even with a higher budget, there's not much we could have done. We couldn't have watched the films or shows.
Right. We could have bought Batman stuff that was based on the comics rather than the show. And we did to some extent. The Bat coins, the Batman coloring book that we got from someone.
But, there just wasn't enough Batman to go around. If you could only watch it once a day, 5 days a week, and then on a black and white television that was really fuzzy because it was a cable-supplied station that was very far away from us, and our reception was really bad, we had to fill our lives with Batman in other ways. And we certainly did. These and the action figures, especially...
Batman radio show.
More
on that coming in the future.
Yes, the Batman radio show, a.k.a. the Clarinet Buster. Although that might have been a Spider-Man radio show.
It could have. I don't remember.
I whapped a clarinet against our bed and broke the clarinet and then had to pay for the repairs when I was 7. I was sure that my life was over.
He's still in debt, folks.
Bankrupt at the age of 8.
Anyway, so that's our accumulated Bat stuff for this time. Hopefully we'll find more in the future somewhere, or there might still be some hiding in Hanover.
Oh, there's got to be something out there, but just so you notice, the new look Batman insignia from the comic book is also used here on the Viewmaster packet instead of the Batman that you see on my shirt, which is, of course, the bona fide 66 Batman insignia.
Yeah, well, it seems like none of the Bat crap that was being sold had that logo on it.
No, it didn't seem to.
In the 60s. So maybe it was just somehow easier or cheaper to do tie-ins to the comic. And just because it was called the same thing and looked kind of the same, it would sell.
Well, and this, the art for this insignia was probably widely available and easily photostatted by DC to send off to whatever companies wanted to, were paying to license it.
Yeah.
Whereas,
clearly this is based on the show because it's got pictures of Adam West and Burt Ward. But it was somehow easier to use the comics logo, I guess.
Maybe one of these days, as a special edition, we could do a PDF of this little booklet, which also goes through the story like all ViewMaster packets. You can run through the story image by image, depending on which disc you're on, and you get this little kind of almost like a slideshow recording of a soundtrack alongside, so you can read this while you're.
Or I could take pictures of them all and put them on Patreon along with the video.
Yes, let's read a short passage, shall we? Next, using his vast knowledge of audio engineering, Batman reversed the polarity on his communicator. Then increased the audio to 20,000 decibels, which of course shook the Earth loose from its orbit. The end. The room was filled with an ear-shattering whine in big capital letters. The tiger backed into the corner and cowered there. Batman dropped to the floor, opened the door, and escaped into a long corridor, turning off the communicator. He looked around and then stamped on the wall the luminous sign of the bat. Here endeth the lesson. And the luminous sign of the bat was one of the most impressive things about that, the ViewMaster, to me at least, because if you held the ViewMaster up to the light, the luminous bat's insignia that Batman slaps on the wall in the first Catwoman arc so he can find his way around the labyrinth, actually glowed and sparkled when you looked up toward the light and had more light shining in from the back. The light gathering lenses of the ViewMaster, and it was like, ooh, it's like real. It felt not just three-dimensional, it felt tactile in some way. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And still is.
Yes. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and hopefully there'll be another one of these next time we get together, whenever the heck that is.
Whenever the heck that is. I'm sure we'll find something else. Until then, stay tuned.
You.